Hi, welcome back, Heather. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing well. So we got our intake done last week, and we're here to actually start moving forward. So can you tell me a little bit about what we want to discuss?
Yes. For me, I'm really struggling with setting boundaries with my family. We don't really have this perfect family or anything like that, but it's like I don't know how far is too far with setting boundaries to the extreme and like not having any boundaries. So it's like I'm really struggling on finding that happy medium in a sense.
Okay, so boundaries are an issue. Tell me a little bit about your family makeup.
It's my dad and mom. They divorced and then they got back together.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they separated and they haven't technically signed the divorce papers because of the money cost. So, I mean, they've been separated since my 8th grade year, so going on 8 years.
So probably. A long separation.
Yeah, a while. And I mean, my mom's been dating. And then she even lived with my dad at one point with the boyfriend. It's really weird how that situation all works out.
Strange.
And then I have an older brother who stays on and off with my dad, but he's never really there. He's with friends all the time.
Okay.
And so my grandpa lives with my dad as well right now, so he's in that house. But usually it's me and my grandma up in Yukon because that's where I stay with our dog. And then I have 2 younger siblings that are my sisters who both have a kid and then one on the way, and they're younger than me. So, I mean, it's kind of like a jumbled mess.
Okay, so there's 3 siblings.
Not including me, yes.
Not including you.
Yes.
We have was it nieces or nephews?
Nephews. And then a niece on the way.
Okay.
In April of next year, I believe.
Okay, so we have 2 nephews, niece on the way. Parents who are kind of estranged back and forth with each other.
My mom is technically homeless, so when she needs someone to go to, she'll run back to my dad. My dad's like her safe place. So that's kind of why she's in and out. But I mean, I don't really have a relationship with her, so it makes it hard to go to my dad's when she's there.
Yeah, okay. So it seems like and then there's grandmother and your dog.
Grandpa and dad.
Oh,
and
grandpa.
Well, and grandmother. I live with my grandmother, but my grandpa lives with my dad, so he's in the mix somehow too.
Okay, got you. So it's grandmother and the dog that you stay with.
Yes, I live with him.
Okay, and it seems like, is that maybe one of the more solid relationships in your life?
She is my rock. Like, I tell her everything. It's weird because she's always telling me how I need to get a life. She was like, you're starting to act like me and you're 22. Like, this is not okay. Like, you need to get a life.
So that's an important relationship in your life.
Yes. She's, like, actually the one who's helped me, like, start to establish boundaries. She was like, you need to or you're going to drown yourself. So, she's definitely been my encourager and my support, and she's always been there for me.
So that's awesome. So it's not grandmother that we're trying to set boundaries with. No. It's mother and
my biological parents.
Biological parents. Okay. Now you say biological parents. Could you tell me a little bit about why you use that terminology?
Whenever I was 17, about 4 months before my 18th birthday, because of my dad's drinking and abusing my sister or whatever, we got put in foster care, and then I aged out of foster care about 2 years later, and I had 2 different foster families, and I had a mom and a dad on both sides, and my second foster family actually ended up adopting my sister Megan, so I have that family, so I call them my biological family, because I also have foster families that I still talk to and I'm close with and still look at as family, because I don't really claim my parents as my parents, they're more like friends at times.
So they haven't played that parental role for you?
No, I raised myself and my siblings, so it's hard to find that boundary with them because I was never taught how to set good boundaries, so now I'm having to learn at 22 how to set these boundaries, and I don't even know where to start.
So there's some confusion of what role they should even play in your life.
Yes, because my dad always calls me the voice of reason for him, so he'll call me when he needs advice and wants me to be his counselor, and I'm like, that's not the role I should be playing in his life. But it's hard to, like, not be there for him because in a sense I feel like if I don't play that role, like, he might end up, like, killing himself or something because he's threatened that multiple times. So it's like where to find that boundary without feeling guilt if something does happen.
So there's an unhealthy relationship there.
Extremely unhealthy.
Yeah.
And it's like I see that, but it's like I don't know how to fix it because, like, that's my dad. I was a daddy's girl, but after we had that falling out or whatever, it's like kind of hard to have that relationship again. Like, he's still my dad. Like, I turn to him when my car breaks down or I need something. Like, he's there for me. But it's like at the same time, it's like that's the only, like, part he plays in my life, besides, like, helping me with my car insurance and being on his phone plan. Like, other than that, I don't really...
So there are some aspects there where he does play the parent role.
Yeah, I mean, he's a functioning alcoholic. I mean, he goes to work and whatnot. So, I mean, it's definitely, like, good to see the hard work and whatnot, but it's, like, at the same time, how do I find that boundary where it's not, like, detrimenting my life because he's in it? Because since he is still drinking, it's really hard to have that relationship and not, like, him overstep his boundary in my life. And it's like trying to set that boundary with an alcoholic is really hard because since he drinks, he'll forget. So even if I said it when he's sober, whenever we talk, he doesn't remember what he says anyway. So it's like, I've been told not to answer the phone, but I'm not that type of person. Like, I'll answer and I'll be like, okay, you're drunk. I can't talk to you right now. And then we'll go on and talk for 20 or 30 minutes because he doesn't hang up, and I'm not strong enough to just press the end button. So
yeah,
it's definitely a love-hate relationship with him sometimes.
So, it sounds like you want a relationship with him, but what you're getting from it isn't kind of your expectations of what that relationship should look like.
Yeah, it's not a normal father-daughter relationship. And I mean, I know families aren't going to be, like, perfect or whatever. Like, I get that. It's just seeing my friend's relationship with their parents and, like, how they have it set up, and then seeing, like, my relationship, like, how dysfunctional it is and whatnot. It's, like, one of those things where I'm like, okay, this is not how it's supposed to go. Like, he should not be calling me for advice. I'm 22. He's going on 50. Like, it should be the other way around. So, I mean, having that issue and then not, like, having a relationship at all with my mom and her, like, inserting herself in my life and, like, not having boundaries with that and just, like, not developing those boundaries, like, it causes me to get used a lot down the line, especially with my family. So, I mean, being able to set those boundaries and saying no would be, like, so much, like, weight lifted off my shoulders, in a sense.
Tell me, what, in your eyes, do healthy boundaries look like with parents?
With parents, and for me, I know, personally, boundaries that I would see as healthy for my parents is when he calls me drunk, to be able to hang up the phone and not talk to him, and just establish this, like, or establish the lines before he even starts drinking. Like, when he's sober one day, going over there and saying, look, I can't play this part in your life. I can't be your voice of reason anymore. I can't be your counselor. Like, you can't call me when you're about to pop and need advice. Like, that's not the role I need to play. I'm your daughter. You should be vice versa. Like, I should be calling you for advice and whatnot. Like, I should be calling you to help me. And, I mean, I think in a perfect world, the boundaries would be me drawing that line. Like, we can go to lunch. We can go to dinner. I'll come over and hang out. I'm not going to stay the night with you just in case you do drink and whatnot. And we'll have that father-daughter relationship we had growing up where I would hang out with you, we would have a great time and whatnot, but I'm not going to be your counselor because I feel like that's what he wants me to be in his life. Because he sees me as, oh, you work for DHS, so you have all these resources so you can help me. And not being called the B word all the time. He tends to call me the B word a lot. And
so he's like, verbally abusive with you?
Verbally, mentally, he's never physically hit me, but whenever he physically hit my sisters, like, I had to pull him off and whatnot. So, I mean, in a sense, like, it's all spectrums of it. So, I mean, and then having that, like, as the background and whatnot, like, he hasn't changed much. Like, he still has that anger issue. So, I mean, distancing myself and, like, setting that boundary where, like, when he is, like, that angry and whatnot. Because, like, I know when to leave and when not to leave. Like, I've almost been hit multiple times because I'm a mouthy person. So, I mean, I guess that's another boundary I should probably set with him is not mouthing off just to push his buttons because I know I can. Because, like, he sees me as his only child that's on the right path in a sense. So I think that's why he turns to me for help because he knows that I won't, like, beat around the bush in a sense. Like, I'll shoot it to him straight. And, I mean, I have a great time whenever I hang out with him and he's sober, but it's like he's never sober. And I unconsciously get my hopes up thinking he'll quit drinking when he does. And so, like, I need to work on that because I don't realize I do it until he starts drinking again or falls off the wagon, and then it's like for 2 or 3 days, like I'm just like depressed, like off in a way, or like I feel off because of it. And I'm just like, how does this work? Like I'm not even there, I'm not even around him, and he still can affect me just by a phone call.
Okay, so let me just reflect to you some things that I've heard you say. Okay. You want to have positive boundaries with him, you know that you're not playing the role of a parent.
Mm-hmm. Especially to him, he is a parent.
Yeah. And then I heard these statements from you. I love it when I'm around him and he's sober,
Mhm.
and I have a great time with him. But then I heard you say he's never sober.
He's sober at work, but that's about the only time. Like, as soon as he comes home, he'll crack open a beer, open the bottle, and start drinking. So it's like, I have to catch him, like, right before he gets home, pretty much, in a sense.
Okay, so before work or after work, those are the only times that you're able to communicate with him. Do you ever sit down with him during those times and have these serious conversations with him?
Not yet, because I don't think I'm at that point. Like, I've made small steps, but I actually just currently got a book called Boundaries that I'm going to start reading, because I've been told that it's going to change my life. Like, that's how you set the boundaries and whatnot, and this book is really going to help me. Like, everyone's told me I need to read it. So I've actually got this book to help me establish these boundaries, and I think after or during while I read it, like, I'll really be able to pursue my boundaries and setting them with not just my family, but everyone, because I'm really, like, outgoing and really easy to use in a sense, because I'll do whatever I can. Like, I would give you the shirt off my back if I could. So,
Well, that sounds like a great step in the right direction. What are some other things do you think would get you ready to have that conversation with your dad?
Talking to other people who have been through it, not even like in foster care who have had to learn how to set those boundaries, but just people in general who've had to set those boundaries in a sense, and just like finding out like ways to like cope with it, because I know like once I do, it's going to be hard to like, I guess, stick to them and not like deviate a little bit, like, oh, like if you call me when you're drunk, I'm not going to answer, and then like answering and talking to them anyways, because like once I set those boundaries, it's like you have to stay consistent, and I feel like that's going to be the hard thing. So talking to people who have been through it and see like what helped them and what didn't, I think will really help me. And like talking to my grandma's going to really help, because she'll help me out and like keep me on the right path. She'll probably take my phone if I try and talk to him.
So it sounds like you're kind of afraid of the consequences if you get the outcome that you
Yeah,
want.
I don't want our relationship to change, because I do have a great time with him. I mean, when he's somewhat drinking but not like flat out drunk, like we can still have a good time. But it's like, I would prefer if he was sober in a perfect world, but I know it's not going to happen. He's been drinking since he was 15, and he's almost 50. So, I mean, he's been drinking that long, and he couldn't even stop drinking when we got put in care. So, I mean, obviously it's not going to, like, nothing's going to stop him unless he dies, probably, which is horrible to say, but
Yeah.
that's kind of that's like the end product for him to stop. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to see him stopping anytime soon.
Okay, so we have, it sounds like we have some good steps here that you can take to start moving in this direction to set these healthy boundaries, even though there may be some consequences to them that
I mean, just
aren't
like,
going to be enjoyable.
yeah, the change in the relationship, I think, is like my biggest thing, because it's like I already feel like the black sheep, because I am the only one who graduated high school, went to college and whatnot, and I mean the only one in my family, like my immediate family, that has a college degree of any sort. So I mean, they kind of look at me as like, oh, you think you're better than everyone else. So I mean, like, losing them completely, I think, is like what I'm scared of for setting those boundaries, because it's like I've never had them with them, so I don't know how much it will change.
Why? Give me some reasons why this would be a good thing for you.
I wouldn't feel like I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders, because I feel like everything they do is my fault, regardless if I'm around or not. I would have way more self-confidence and self-esteem in myself, because I wouldn't be told over and over and over again when my dad's drunk that I'm nothing and that I haven't done anything right. And I think I would have a more positive outlook on life, instead of like being drugged down and put in that negative environment all the time. Because I mean, I did break the cycle and I did escape, but yet I still am like getting drugged back into it. So I think like definitely all those things would be some positives to move forward after I set the boundaries.
Tell me some reasons why you want it.
Fear of the unknown, not being in control, and just failing miserably. Like, I don't like letting people down, and I feel like I would if I set those boundaries and then I didn't like stick to them, because I'm really like a people pleaser. So I mean, that's something I need to work on as well. But I mean, with him, it's just, or with my family in general, just like losing them is like my biggest fear, because like I've never really told them no. So I feel like if I do, like they're just not gonna want to be around or talk to me anymore.
Okay. So let's make a scale.
Okay.
A scale of 1 to 10. And we're looking at the scale, and 1 is there's no way I'm making this change or taking these steps. And 10 is I'm ready to do this. When I walk out of here, I'm going to make these changes. Where would you put yourself on that scale?
In the process of making the change, I would say I'm at about a 3 at the moment. But I think after I actually start reading the Boundaries book and the Save People book and all these other books that should help me, I think I will be closer to a 10.
What do you think would have to happen to move you from a 3 to a 10? What would have to happen before that change would be made?
I think reading the book and actually like practicing the boundaries instead of fully into it. And I think just like not jumping, just hitting the ground running, like actually like progressing into it, because I'm one of those people where like I just hit the ground and go 100 miles an hour. So I think like actually like working up to it and like going through certain steps and not just like jumping in, like actually like making steps for myself is what it would take to go from 3 to 10.
Okay, so let's do this. Our time's about up, but it sounds like you've made some positive plans. Let's say before we meet again next week, how about you read 1 chapter of your book?
At least, because I'll probably read a lot more if it's interesting.
Okay, then let's do that, and then let's come back next week, and let's discuss how you feel about that.
Okay,
All right.
that sounds good.
Well, it's nice meeting with you. You have a great afternoon.
Thank you, you too.